Hey everybody, what you are about to hear is a Patreon exclusive episode. It is one of our call-in shows or possibly one of our custom episodes. Yeah, I pre-record these things, deal with it. It's one or the other, and these will be heard a week earlier if you sign up to our Patreon at patreon.com/theb+. There's all sorts of rewards. You get to tell us what to talk about in these custom episodes, for example, or if this is a call-in show, you could be on it just by going to our Patreon, patreon.com/theb+, supporting us for as low as $1. Every dollar helps. It's going to help us build the site, grow the site, get more content creators, get more people exposing Aussie wrestling to the rest of the world. It's the best place to get in on our mission of watch global, support local. We thank everyone, of course, who listens, shares, likes, subscribes, all of that good stuff for their support. An extra special thanks to our Patreon backers. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one. Andre.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Oh my God.
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two. On bar.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Dummy. Yeah.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three. The moss covered. Three-handle family Gradunzo.
Mamma mia.
And now.
Unchained.media presents the B+ Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin.
Number 4, armbar.
I will never retire.
I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
All right, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, welcome to the B+ Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Unchained. Today is whenever it is, because this is a Patreon bonus episode specifically for Jules. Thank you, Jules, for being a Patreon backer at our wonderful super producer. I shouldn't call you a Patreon backer. I've got to call you a super producer, right? Super producer Jules has sent through the request for his monthly custom episode, which you can get as well if you head to patreon.com/theb+. It's pretty awesome. We have all kinds of rewards there. You know the deal. Go check it out. Jules has requested that we talk about our top 5 British-born wrestlers of all time. And joining me to do that, Danders the Manders.
Hello, hello.
And Big Boy Mikey.
Top of the morning to you.
It is not morning. It is night, and I am ready to go to bed.
Full disclosure, I decided not to do British wrestlers. I did British matches. I'm joking. I'm
Here we
kidding.
go again.
I'm
Danders
totally
with the
kidding.
gimmick.
I'm totally kidding. I'll have my own list with blackjack and hookers.
Yeah, it's kind of your gimmick at this point. I was waiting to see what curveball you were going to throw at me.
Yeah.
And full
You're
disclosure,
like, I'm just going to go only Ireland.
Yeah.
and full disclosure, I have about a list of about 1,000. What do you call it?
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
You get 3. You get 3 honorable mentions.
3
Because
honorable-
otherwise you're
okay,
just
perfect.
naming British wrestlers.
It's like just name as many as you can.
Yeah.
I have only 5. I don't even have any honorable mentions.
It's like
I'm sure I'll think of honorable mentions as we go.
Name your top 2 Power Rangers. It's like, oh, I'm going to name 2 with 4 honorable mentions.
Yeah. Does anyone actually have top Power Rangers that aren't the Green Ranger?
Your top answer to that question is not Tommy Oliver. You can get the fuck out.
I don't know if we heard that in the background, but that was someone agreeing with you, Gregory.
I heard that, and I agree with you.
I didn't hear the exact words except for "get the fuck out," and I wasn't sure if it was directed at me or if it was in agreement. So
No, it was in agreement.
Absolutely, Green Ranger and White Ranger are 1 and 2. Like Tommy Oliver gets 1 and 2, but anyway.
yeah, he gets both spots, right? He gets both spots. No, but like the fucking the flute dagger with the giant green dinosaur coming out of the that's badass.
Yeah.
It's just total badassery. And he's a wrestler now.
Yeah, and then Jason, close second or third.
Jason's a firefighter who helped save people at 9/11
Wait, like shoot, like in real life?
in real life. No, in the script, in the
Well,
show.
they might have
he
done
saved
a
people in 9/11.
Power Rangers 9/11 movie. I don't know. I haven't kept up to date. I think Turbo was the last one I watched.
They usually fight like ooze monsters, not like. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there this
Not
week.
terrorism, not Osama bin Laden, not Al Qaeda.
Not this week. Not this week. Not this week. Let's not go there.
Right, now, we should probably touch on the fact that we had a bit of a debate in the chat as to what exactly British born meant.
Yeah.
What did we land on?
Well, according to Mr. Regular J, who we haven't heard from on cast in many months.
Yeah, so the completely irregular and basically not here J.
But he has the final rule. So if it's English, obviously it's England. British is Welsh, English, and Scottish. UK is Welsh, English, Scottish, and Northern Ireland. So if we're saying British, it does include Scotland and Wales. It's like,
but
right.
none of Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no island.
That's Great Britain. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gone only with English people.
Yeah, me
so...
too. After the whole debate, I went with only English anyway.
Yeah, I have one Scottish guy. Even with my honourable mentions, only one Scottish, and the rest is English anyway. So,
so I want to know: did anyone get any women on their lists, and why was it Millie McKenzie?
Yes and no, it wasn't Millie McKenzie.
Damn.
Damn, Danders.
Spoiler.
That's my first honourable mention of the night, Millie McKenzie. She didn't make the list, but she's pretty awesome.
Spoilers. One is in my honourable mentions, but none in my 5. One is an English girl, and it's not Millie McKenzie.
All right. So do we want to do honourable mentions first?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mikey, you go first because you've clearly got 1,000. You get 5. No, you get 3. You get 3.
3. We said 3. We said 3.
You get 3 honourable mentions.
Looking at my untitled spreadsheet, yeah, I couldn't name a fucking 1,000, but I got 3. All right. These are in no particular order. One being Dynamite Kid. He's probably would have made my top 5, but I had to make a cut somewhere, and he fell out. Zack Sabre Jr. Just falls out of my top 5, and then Paige. Probably my favourite female British wrestler of all time. So Paige just falls out. Otherwise, I would have had a female talent in my top 5, but yeah, they're my 3 honourables.
All right, and Danders, what about yourself?
Honourable mentions to me are William Regal and Robbie Brookside. The reason that they are honourable mentions as opposed to in the list, because I don't sort of really know enough of their stuff, but they obviously have a huge impact on the industry and are very important, particularly with WWE. And I felt that couldn't be ignored just because I am an ignorant slut.
Okay. And with
you know that thing though? That's like from The Office. Dwight, you ignorant slut.
Yeah.
I just wasn't expecting it.
It's just very confronting when you put it out there like that.
Yeah.
So for my honourable, I'm still recovering. For my honourable mentions, I'm also going to throw Mr. William Regal in there.
Don't bunny hop on mine.
Well, he didn't make my top 5.
You just said you didn't have any honourable mentions.
I didn't. But when you said William Regal, I was like, oh shit, that's right. He's from Blackpool, England. So I did also want to include Millie McKenzie, and I'm going to also backpack on Mikey's over there and say Paige as well, because I'm a big Paige fan. But she didn't make my list either. I start my list at number 5 though with a different William Ospreay. Controversial choice?
Not at all.
Not at all. He's my number 5 too.
Oh, there you go. We agree on a number. Oh, I can't believe I agree with Danders on something.
I gotta say, can I just, before we start, I just need one tangent.
Okay.
When I was asking Daniel, when I was talking about this with Daniel, because Daniel knows fuck all about wrestling, he was like, you should have the Duchess of Queensberry on your list. Now, The Duchess of Queensberry appeared on one show, which was Backlash 2001.
Yes.
Daniel
One of my
doesn't,
favorite matches ever.
which apparently I watch so frequently that Daniel knows who she is. That's how often I watched Backlash 2001. So yeah,
That's amazing. That's like the best period of wrestling though, and that Chris Jericho William Regal feud is iconic.
it's very
Yeah.
good. Would you please shut the hell up? Yes.
That's when he pisses in the tea, right?
Yes. He puts P in the T. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Why do you have Mr. Ospreay on your list?
A big reason he made the list is the work that he does over here, and he from everything I hear about the guy and from the guy, he's very passionate about lifting local wrestling up. He seems to have zero interest in going to the WWE, which is just cool. Like, you can't argue the cool factor of that. Just being like, yeah, no, I know they're the biggest game in town. Doesn't interest me. I like doing what I do.
Yep.
And he's super passionate about it. And he despite his social media, he's a very, very good wrestler. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Will Ospreay match. He lifts everyone up. Like, I was talking about in the New Japan Cup with Mikey the other day on King of Sports. He had a match with Lance Archer, who I'm like, I'm never excited about a Lance Archer match. And it was like one of the best matches of the New Japan Cup. So
Solid.
he has great matches with everyone. So how can he not make the top 5, you know?
Solid.
Yeah. But he's not the style that I'm a huge fan of. So he doesn't crack the top 4.
Yeah. My thing with Will Ospreay is the reason he wasn't further up. He is a massive douche on Twitter. And as someone who uses their Twitter like solely to promote the shirtlessness of Slickback Cash, I can't really talk. But I'm just like, Will, would you please shut the hell up? That's the second time I've got that reference in. And also, like, and here's a separate tangent. When international people come to MCW particularly, I don't know about other promotions, but when they come to MCW, Thornbury Theatre is packed wall to wall. But then the next show, it's not. So it's bringing a lot of attention for that one show. And one thing, when I think of the amazing Will Ospreay matches here, particularly with Slex, Stevie Philippe and Adam Brooks, those are my favorites that I've seen. They were incredible. But then he comes out at the end and he talks about how he's going to save MCW and shit like that. And I'm like, MCW doesn't need you. You are fantastic and you coming here is great. We don't need like the New Japan Jesus. Have some respect. Have just respect for
See, I disagree though because like the Will Ospreay Adam Brooks match that got Adam Brooks booked overseas, which got more eyes on him, and it got more people signing up to MCW Encore. Like, I have English friends who watch MCW Encore and PWA play and stuff because, oh yeah, Will Ospreay came over and had that match with Robbie Eagles, right? And so it does help.
As someone who goes to the shows, I'm not sure about the Encore thing. I don't have the stats.
Right, yeah. But in terms of live attendance, I get what you're saying.
I know that, like, I'm sure 5 of your friends would need to have a lengthy subscription to Encore to offset the cost of Will Ospreay coming to MCW. And it's just I am such a fan of our local talent. And we've seen with PCW, with the most recent, what was it called, PWA show, you don't need international talent to sell out shows. It's great. Yeah. I just felt that he was a little bit preachy.
Right. I understand that.
Amazing performer. You cannot deny he is one of the greatest of our generation. Just lay off Twitter, Will Ospreay, and you'll make it higher on my list. I know that's Mikey, what you're aiming for. You want to get higher on my list.
Mikey's been silent because I know he's got William Ospreay at number 1, don't you, Mikey?
Don't have number 1. He is in my 5. He is in my 5. He's not number 1. Do I reveal what number now, or should I reveal that later? But do you want me to give my Ospreay spiel?
No, reveal it later. No, we'll come back. Oh, I guess no. Yeah, tell us what number you have Ospreay at, and give us your spiel now, and then hit your number 5 after.
Okay, so Will Ospreay is at number 2 for me. So I have a story with Will Ospreay. Not only is he an amazing in-ring talent, and yes, he's a douche on Twitter, but that gets people that I don't like riled up, so that's fun. I'm not going to say names. No, I'm not supposed to say a name, but I'm like, no, I'll leave that to the Kelly gang. No,
Nick, I don't know if you guys know Nick Collette. He's got him blocked. Will Ospreay has blocked Nick Collette on
okay.
Twitter. I don't know. And he doesn't know either. He's not his biggest fan, to be fair. But
Well, I think it was after that Sammy Jane stuff. Was it Sammy Jane with the thing? And I think anything to do with obviously any female wrestler, Nick has every single comment in the world. I was talking about one Kevin from Perth.
Oh man, I might be blocked then. I haven't actually checked his Twitter lately, but I tweeted. I'm pretty sure I tweeted about that situation as well. Because it wasn't Sammy Jane. It was she just got Sadie Gibbs just got signed. By All Elite Wrestling, and she was the Tour of Stardom. I'm going to check now, see if I'm blocked by Will Ospreay.
So I'm gonna give my little Will Ospreay story. So not only is he an amazing wrestler, and he wrestled in what I personally feel is the greatest match I've ever watched live. Ospreay Eagles won, like live in attendance. That's the greatest match I've ever watched live. Nothing has ever been able to top that. But so I have a funny story about Will Ospreay that makes me love him even more. So just ahead of the New Japan Fallout tour that came out to, was it Fallout tour or whatever it was called? When it came to Australia, we're on the way to the show. Made one stop to Macquarie Shopping Centre. I found a Nando's because I was outside of Nando's, and I was on Twitter and I saw Will Ospreay tweet, "Oh, fuck, I wish there was a good Nando's in Australia." And I literally took a photo, like tweeted to him. He's just like, "Fuck, all right, I'm gonna get an Uber straight to." So we're like, "Really? Like what?" So like we sort of hung around, sort of hoping he'd come, but he didn't. We're like, "All right, let's just go. We're gonna get to the show." So we started driving towards Homebush there, and I don't know if anyone knows Homebush. There's that massive roundabout that goes into the Homebush area. Anyway, so
they had the Olympics there once.
Yes, yeah. That's all it's known for.
That's my extent.
Yes,
anyway,
they did.
So we're about to go there, and on Twitter he tweeted a little photo of him wearing a Wallabies jersey, and we're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool, him wearing a Wallabies jersey." And then as we were driving down the street, I point out, I was like, "No, look, there's a dude over there that kind of looks like Will Ospreay with a Wallabies jersey." It is Will. So like, I was like, "Shit, it actually is him." And I was like, "Matty, turn around the car." He went into like this other shopping centre just near the Homebush there, the DFO, and he went in there. So Matty did this like illegal turn over the roundabout. We went into the shopping centre. We ran in. We actually sat there like talking to Ospreay for about 5-10 minutes outside Boost. And he ordered the King William chocolate because it had his name in it. We sat there talking to him about like my cousin Matty does a lot of the trampoline wrestling and stuff like that. And he was actually talking to Matty about like the trampoline wrestling and how he got started, and that's how him and Robbie became friends. They met on a trampoline wrestling forum thing back in the day. That's how they became friends. And while they're talking, I'm just like he is a really humble guy. Like every time I've met him, he's always been super humble. He's a very nice guy. So just that little personal touch I've had with Ospreay is kind of a reason why I put him up a little bit more, because I know like, yeah, okay, he might be a dick on Twitter, but that's just probably the 240 characters speaking.
Yeah, you don't have to justify it. It's your opinion.
But no.
Which is something I'd only say to you. If it's Greg, I'm like, no, Greg, fucking justify your opinion. Earn your worth to me, peasant.
Thank you both. Thank you both.
Yes.
Thank you, birthday girl. But yeah, that's why Will Ospreay is in my 5 at number 2.
At number 2, very high in the 5. So who's your number 5? We skipped ahead there just because we don't want to bring Will Ospreay up again a second time. So yeah, who's not?
My 5 is probably the only Scottish person that's going to be in any of our 5s is Drew McIntyre. I love Drew, Galloway, McIntyre, whatever you want to call him. Since the day that I watched him first time in like FCW, I love Drew McIntyre. I reckon he is one of the best big men in wrestling. He's underrated as a big man because I don't know, like he kind of doesn't get that big man sort of push sometimes in WWE, but he is a big man, and I could watch him go all day, whether it's fucking WCPW, WWE, whatever. He has done top notch shit his whole career, and I just love it. I love him. Apart from 3-Man Band, that was a forgettable period of his career.
All right, so hot take here from me. I think that he's actually overrated, except in 3MB.
I quit.
I enjoyed 3MB, man. 3MB were entertaining.
The only person that got any enjoyment out of 3MB was Heath Slater. Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre did not.
Isn't it funny when you say about how he's not booked like a big man in WWE? I think to me, it feels like because unless you are bordering on 7 foot tall, unless you're like 6'10", 6'11", you're a normal guy. Like anyone under 6'4" is the little man.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're 6'4" to 6'9", you're like normal wrestler size. This is what wrestlers should look like. It's just a very.
It's kind of starting to change now, and I'm not going to justify my opinion. Just watch the damn show.
It is definitely starting to change. But I think that's coming more from the indies more than it's coming from WWE. Because Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So going to number 4, I'll hit us with number 4 for me. It was one Peter Dunne, the longest reigning NXT UK, WWE UK. It started as a WWE UK championship, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Still called the WWE UK title.
Can you get the fuck off my list already? Just fuck off.
Are you kidding? Do we have the exact same fucking list?
No, we don't, because I know that we don't.
Okay.
I put women on my list.
Okay. Right. Yeah. I'm a horrible sexist.
Yeah.
They made my honorable mentions. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mentioned Sadie Gibbs just before. I'll put an honorable mention for her too, even though she's only fresh. Like, I really enjoy her. She's very exciting. Anyway, no, Pete Dunne. I love Pete Dunne. I love the style. I love the limb manipulation. I also love how hard hitting he is. The belt in the mouth. The whole look. Like, everything about Pete Dunne is just mint. I love it. I'm a big Pete Dunne fan. I don't think there's not much that really needs to be said about Pete Dunne, right? Everyone listening to this knows how freaking great Pete Dunne is. Yeah,
no, I agree. I love Pete Dunne. Even though I don't really watch WWE NXT. NXT UK. I don't watch NXT either. Who am I kidding?
You watch the takeovers, though.
Yeah, I watch
right?
the takeovers.
So you've seen a lot of his good stuff.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of his like pre-NXT stuff as well. I just think he's fun. Like, he's just fun to watch, and that's like what's important to me, is that he's just really enjoyable to watch without being stupid. Not pointing fingers, Joey Ryan, you stupid fuck.
Well, he and Tyler Bate have a match for, I think it was for Attack Wrestling in the UK, where they switch gimmicks. And so he's being Tyler Bate and Tyler Bate's being Pete Dunne. And it's one of the greatest things I've ever watched in my life. Like, I throw it on YouTube all the time just to have it's just for shits and giggles. Like, it's just so fun to see them take the piss out of each other. And that's one of my favorite things about anyone in any field, is if you can take the piss out of yourself, like, I'm going to be a fan of you.
Oh, absolutely. If you can laugh at yourself, then you're going to be able to be entertaining.
So is Pete Dunne both yours number 4?
Yeah.
Interesting. Pete Dunne actually isn't in my top 5 at all. Sorry. I don't have Pete Dunne.
Wow.
Sean the non-believer.
Yeah. Right,
Sean.
So, unfortunately, the 2 that I've spoken about, my number 5 and 2, are the only current wrestlers I have in my list. I love Pete Dunne.
Oh, there you go.
He's in one of my thousands of honorable mentions here. He is fantastic, but all time, Ospreay only gets in there on sort of, I guess, a little bit more emotional. Drew gets in there. I've watched his whole body of work since he debuted. The other 3 are either retired or passed away. So my number 4 is Mr. William Regal, who's in both your honorable mentions. So I have Regal in my top 5 only because I did get to watch most of his stuff. Whether it was Lord Steven Regal in WCW as the what was that character that he did with the God, he did this really funny gimmick of being like an outdoors man. Oh, I can't think of the character name. Anyway, whether it was all his WCW work, his in-ring stuff in WWE, like when he was a GM, one of the best GMs that Raw ever had.
Hang on, he wasn't a GM, wasn't he? A
say-
commissioner? He was back when they called
Commissioner
right?
Regal.
Commissioner Regal.
Bloody
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I know, but I loved Commissioner Regal.
Yeah,
I
Regal.
loved Commissioner. I felt like the commissioners were great. Commissioner Foley,
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels was commissioner.
Shawn
And
Michaels
Regal
was
was
probably
commissioner.
the weakest, I reckon. That was in
Yeah.
his. He was still finding his smile then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the commissioner era was great, and then they went to general managers, and other than Eric Bischoff, I'm like, eh.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But the thing that even gets Regal even more famous, other than he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, what he's doing now in NXT as whether he's head trainer or he's a GM or whatever you want to be in NXT, he's pretty much a talent scout. The work that he's sort of doing alongside Bloom and that is just phenomenal. He's finding some of the greatest talent out there that, he's scouting, and he's just, I don't know. Regal is one of my favorite dudes of all time. I actually would have had him higher, but there's three other guys, obviously. Two other guys I haven't spoken about that just get it a little bit more. But yeah, Regal's my number 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things is I only started watching wrestling in about 1997, 1998. So I was about 7 or 8 years old. And I didn't get that you're supposed to hate the bad guy.
Right.
So
right.
to me, the bad guys, they were just shit, and I hated them. And I didn't like them because I knew that it was fake, but I didn't understand the heel face dynamic. So when William Regal was at his commissioner, his fucking annoying character, it didn't click to me until my later years. It's oh, that means that he's doing a good job.
Right.
That's I'm such a fucking mark. Oh.
That's a good thing, though. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just found him so enjoyable. If you guys ever want to watch, I don't like bringing up his name because he should be written off wrestling forever. Kind of has.
Steve
No. Worse.
That's
Benoit.
bait.
No.
Chris
If you ever
Benoit.
want to watch amazing wrestling, go back and watch WCW Regal versus Benoit. Oh, their matches were just
Or just watch Regal versus Goldberg.
That's what I was thinking of in the the Las Vegas showgirl match.
Wow, yeah.
No, it's you two and your cancelling. Let's move on though. So we're at number 3 now.
We don't
Danders,
have
I'll
to
let you go.
cancel Benoit. He cancelled himself, mate.
Yeah.
He pressed control
When
alt
when
delete.
he cancelled his child and wife, he cancelled himself forever.
Yeah. But no, let's get the awkward stuff gone into the past. Let's bury it, and let's move on to number 3. Who you got, Danders, so that I don't steal your thunder again?
Number 3 for me was Paige.
Okay, there we go.
To me, Paige, when you talk about the women's revolution / evolution, the people that it goes back to is always the 4 horsewomen. Paige was such an integral part of that, and obviously the first NXT women's champion. And I just feel like she was a little bit too early for the horsewomen, and she was also a little bit too late for AJ Lee. I just feel like if AJ Lee had have come along a couple of years later, or Paige potentially come along a couple of years earlier, those two, I know they had a little bit of a feud, but that had the potential to be so much more. That would have been not even the Paige and Lita. That would have been not Paige and Lita, Trish and Lita. It would have been the Lita and Lita. The potential that could have been there. Stupid AJ Lee married the fucking. There's so much that could have. I'm so angry.
All the cancelling.
I know. No, that's not a cancelling. That's just yeah.
I know.
There's so
I
much
understand.
that I would have loved to see between those two, and Paige's career was struck short tragically. I mean, she's very lucky to still be alive. And especially with like reading more about her and watching the movie about her and things like that. She's so fascinating. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you watched the documentary that Fighting
Yeah.
with My Family was based on?
Yeah. I watched it
because
after
that's
the
what did
film.
it for me.
Yeah.
Because I watched that a couple of years ago, I think, when Paige first showed up in NXT, and and on the forums and stuff, someone was like, "Oh yeah, they did a documentary or whatever," and yeah, I was just immediately, I'm like, I'm in love with this girl, like not like actually in love with it. I'm not one of those, but like she's got an amazing story.
Absolutely.
I was sitting here like the entire time that you were talking, Danders, I was sitting just like nodding my head. I absolutely agree. I wish I had a spot for her in my top 5. I just had to squeeze her out. She's my favorite British women's wrestler of all time. I credit to Saraya. Saraya's amazing herself. I never found enjoyment out of watching her dad's matches. I've watched a few of them. Don't get any enjoyment out of her dad's matches. But Saraya and Paige both phenomenal in ring. It's just so sad that she's not even 25 yet, 24. She's like,
I think she's 25 or 26. I mean,
she's that young.
Well, she won that title at 21. When she won that title and AJ Lee on the Raw that night, she was 21. I mean, she is fantastic, and I'm not gonna lie, I did have a bit of a crush on her when she debuted. I thought she was cool. I had a crush on her and AJ Lee.
Side note, I feel like women should be able to do whatever the fuck they want to their bodies, to their faces. Paige, stop shoving that shit in your face. You look ridiculous. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. Please don't conform to Kylie Jenner beauty standards.
Also, I love her, but she makes some bad dating choices.
Yeah.
Well, someone who's not going to conform to anyone's beauty standards is my number 3. He's a retired individual, one Doug Williams.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I definitely know who that is.
So you'll start to see Mikey going from Pete Dunne through number 3, 2, and 1 on my list. You'll start to see where my thinking is at with what I consider British wrestling and why I was so mad at World of Sport when they re-debuted and were awful. Because Doug Williams exemplifies wrestling. So Doug Williams, he's a British guy that came over and did a lot of Ring of Honor, and he's probably most famous for TNA. British. Danders, I think, but like I associate him more with Ring of Honor. The matches he had with Nigel McGuinness, another honorable mention. Jay Lethal, Daniel Bryan, of course. Like he's like a wrestler's wrestler, like real like hold for hold, catch as catch can, wrestler's wrestler, and he's one of the best.
Yeah. So before we started this, and you said
that's pushed you past 3 honorable mentions.
Well, yeah,
you only get 3.
Well, it's... But I didn't have any to begin with, and I just sort of copied off.
Now you have 4. It was supposed to be a definitive list. You don't just get to decide your list on the spot.
Well, I said his matches with Nigel McGuinness.
I put 7 minutes into my list, all right? Have some respect for the process.
I had the whole, I start talking about some of the matches I remember him having, and the first thing that came to mind was Nigel McGuinness, and I'm like, oh shit, Nigel McGuinness is a Brit as well. I'll give him an honourable mention. Then I'm thinking in my head Nick Aldis too, and I'm like, no, don't give him an honourable mention. I love Nick Aldis, but I'm not giving him an honourable mention. But I gave it to Nigel McGuinness, okay? So there is a method.
So I will defend you a little bit there, Greg, in the fact that when we first launched, I actually had like 5 technical honourable mentions. Doug Williams was one of them, but I had to delete him because we only had 3. But yeah, I agree with you fully about Doug Williams. He's fucking awesome. I actually did prefer Nick Aldis for a little bit more. For a while, they're better than him. I actually thought he's a better character than Doug, but Doug is one of the best wrestlers I've ever watched. He is.
Yeah, they were in the British. They were in the British invasion in Impact together,
they were part
weren't
of
they?
World Elite with one fucking Okada. They were part of that World Elite with.
But the big thing that sticks with me from Doug Williams, and it's something that I've seen Marty Skrull do, something that I've seen a few guys do, but Doug Williams was the first person I ever saw do it in Ring of Honor back in like 2003 or something. But when you get someone in like the it's sort of like a shoulder stretch move, and you're on the ground in a seated position, and you've got their shoulders, and you're pushing your boots into their shoulders and yanking their arms back, right? And then he rolls backwards, right? In like just crazy abdominal strength, just rolls backwards and kicks like his feet under their chin to get them to break the hold. I don't know why, but that particular move is one of my like favorite counters in all of wrestling. I love it so much. It just entertains the shit out of me. And he was the first person I saw do it. So that alone got him to number 3 on my list.
I'm going to drop another number 3. So we've had Paige, we've had Doug Williams. So obviously Paige is not in your 5. Doug Williams is not in Dandis's 5, so this is good. My number 3 is Davey Boy Smith, British Bulldog. He was in one of the first matches that I ever remember watching as a kid, the 92 SummerSlam. One of the first matches I ever remember watching live on pay-per-view with my father. Daddy issues. No, yeah, we won't.
All right, Avery.
But no, Davey.
Can I give an honourable mention to Avery because she's going to wrestle in the UK?
It's not the UK. It's Britain. We're doing British.
Okay, right. Forgetting the rules. I apologise.
Yeah, British Bulldog. It's sad that he lost his life. Technically at such a young age. I think he was only 46, 47. Obviously a victim of the 80s, that late 80s, early 90s. Let's take as many roids as we can to look as buff as we can era. But fuck, he was so good. The Royal Rumble where he should have won. I'll still to this day defend that he should have beat Shawn Michaels that night in the Rumble when Shawn was dangling and came back and jumped back in and gave him the fist in the corner to make British Bulldog get eliminated. But no, Bulldogs is one of my favorite of all time. He's a half foundation guy, and you know me, I'm a half foundation guy more than anything in this world. Bret Hart's probably my number 1 wrestler of all time if we ever do that list. And then his legacy is continued with his son Davey Boy Jr. Harry Smith Jr.
See, I don't see Harry Smith. For me, he was. I fall into this trap with. And I fully recognize this. I'm biased against power wrestlers. I don't know why. But, like, if you're the type of wrestler that goes out there and does power slams, gorilla presses, all that sort of stuff, like, I'm just not into that style
what he did in WWE, like, even when you talk about late 80s, early 90s, it's the same thing that we do now. What he did in WWE as British Bulldog pales comparison to what he did in WCW. If you go watch matches with him against, like, Dustin Rhodes or Sting or, Steve Austin or Brian Pillman, all those sort of guys back in that early 90s WCW, he was a totally different guy. He wasn't that. Like, he used the power moves, but he had more than that. Obviously, in WWE, you have a limited moveset. Fucking people like Cena and that still do it. But Davey is just awesome. Not sure what I can say about him. Rest in peace, Mr. Davey Boy.
Who have you got at number 2, Danders?
If you thought I was going to go with someone that you liked, I'm afraid I have some bad news.
Amazing.
See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
And look, this was like one that I tossed over and turned over because I just feel like, again, there was so much opportunity for him and there was so much terrible booking, but Wade Barrett in the early Nexus days is, to me, it's the most misbooked story. Like, more than like the invasion, whatever, the Nexus angle is the most wrongly booked angle in WWE history. Wade Barrett had the potential to be the top guy. What's he doing these days?
Yeah, he's acting.
He
was
acting a fool. He needs to get back to wrestling.
He's also a host on Ultimate Beastmaster for the UK team.
He's a general manager over in World of Sport in the UK, and he also showed up as sort of the weird power that be guy in the limo, who we're pretty sure is the human body inhabitant of a god in Lucha Underground, the man in the limo.
Okay.
So that was in the season finale. He was revealed as the man in the limo, and then we're not sure if there's going to be another season. So no payoff to that.
He made some
Thanks a lot, guys.
At, WCPW before it turned into Defiant. He made some appearances there. He's still around, but
so he's still around.
See, for me with Wade Barrett, he is actually one of my favorites. He gets another honorable mention. Fuck, there's so many honorables. But no, look, he. Are
you going to have a go at him, Danders?
No,
or are you just going to be a hypocrite?
We've established this.
I know.
I'm okay with liking
I know.
shit.
I know. I was in the wrong, so that's fine. No, so I actually really agree with you on everything you said there, Danders, about Barrett, because there were 3 guys that came up from FCW that I fell in love with. I already talked about my one, Drew McIntyre, Barrett, and Sheamus. All 3 of those guys had potential to be top heels, top dudes. They're all big men, athletic, had good they knew how to promo, they knew how to talk. Unfortunately, one just didn't get it at the start, which ended up being Drew. He ended up getting cut. Wade just ended up having way too many injuries, like that shoulder injury. I think he had 2 or 3 different major shoulder injuries that keep cutting him out. And obviously Sheamus is still there. I mean, he's not one of the top guys anymore, but he's a multi-time champion, so he's obviously made it. But yeah, those 3, I fucking love them. All 3 of them should be top guys in WWE right now. Like that, I agree with. Nexus storyline is one of the 2 biggest missed storylines ever in WWE. Yeah.
It was ruined.
Nexus, Wade Barrett should have beat John Cena at SummerSlam. At Survivor Series. Sorry, he should have beat John Cena at Survivor Series. That would have fixed everything. But yeah, good pick for number 2. Sorry, number 2. Is that number 2 for you? Yeah,
it is number 2. Look, to be honest, mine are just in the order that I've except for number 1. Number 1 is number 1.
Well, I've already said my number 2, which is Ospreay. So,
yeah. So for me, my number 2 is Zack Sabre Jr. Just, again, the style that I love, the catch as catch can, the escapology, as it were, just tying people into knots, and had one of the best matches I've ever seen live against Jonah Rock here in Adelaide for the first return show of World Series Wrestling International Assault. # whatever the next part was. Why do they have 3 names on their tours? I don't understand that.
Is that
anyway,
your real gripe, or is it just that they never come to Adelaide, or they hardly ever come to Adelaide?
No, see, don't do this, because they came to Adelaide and I was so stoked, and then they've just announced another tour and they're not coming to Adelaide again, and I don't want to get into it. But I do, because when I go to write the results, every time, because on the website, right, the bplus.com, cheap plug, every time I go to write the results, it's like, okay, so for PWA, right, PWA Wahlberg vs. UGG results, PWA Coliseum results, MCW Clash of the Titans results, World Series Wrestling, International Assault, Defend and Destroy Tour Melbourne Night 1 results. It's a gripe that I have, believe me, and I've mentioned it before. Your tour has too many names. But Zack Sabre Jr. came out on the first one, and his match with Jonah Rock just stole the entire show. It was amazing. And as well, again, he's much like Will Ospreay. He doesn't have bad matches. His matches range from good to great. He's one of my favorite guys in Japan. The Suzuki Gun stuff. And I will say this, politically, he's a bit too much of a commie, but he's still hilarious. Everything he says is hilarious. So he doesn't have that, even though he'll post political stuff from time to time on the social media, he's funny about it, even if I disagree with him. And so I can appreciate it anyway, if that makes sense.
It's so boring. Oh,
how is he boring when he's making jokes about the warm beer and stuff in New Japan? Everything he says is hilarious. He's talking about Kota Ibushi. When people are saying Kota Ibushi's gonna beat him, and he's like, "What's he gonna do? He's gonna go up onto the balcony and try to moonsault off of me? I'll fucking move. I'm not gonna stand there and look up at him like a fucking idiot. I'll move." I love it. I love his sense of humor.
Promo from the other night in New Japan. I think it was after he beat Kota Ibushi. And that, like in his post-match comments, he said, like, I've been confirmed for the Royal Quest Tour in the UK. He goes, well, I'm not going to call it that because I don't recognise the bloody Queen. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
See, I can get behind non-recognition of the Queen. We agree sometimes. But no, Zack Sabre Jr., though, as a wrestler, again, it's the style that I like, and he's amazing at it. He's one of the best in the world.
But also, like, I forgot what I was going to say because I was just so bored at the thought of Zack Sabre Jr. I find him so boring. I know I'm being mean, but I promise I had a point.
Don't watch a Doug Williams match then either, because I feel like we have a different taste in styles. I think that's
I like flippy shit. That's to me. I don't know. He's like the
no. This is the exact opposite of that. This is tie your legs in a knot so you can't figure out how to flip.
Yeah. And it's just like when he talks, I'm like fucking. Yeah, the vanilla ice cream of wrestlers, mate, and not even like French vanilla, like. Store brand
cream is at least creamy vanilla. At least
store brand vanilla ice confectionery because there's not high enough dairy content to call it ice cream.
The one that tastes like actual ice.
The one if it's like once it's in the freezer, it will go like harder than a priest in a playground. Like fucking not a choice reference.
Only you.
I know. All right.
Only you.
All right. Shall we move on?
Yeah, number one. Who you got?
Well, fucking Mikey stole my thunder. I have the British Bulldog, Davey Boy. Oh, actually, I remember my point. Sorry. Let's backtrack slightly.
Okay.
There is no Zack Sabre Senior. It's a made-up name. It's a made-up fucking name. There's no Zack Sabre Senior. It's fake.
Wow.
Wait, has anyone asked him about this?
My friend looked it up. It's fucking fake. I don't like it.
So someone has asked him about it then.
Well, like someone's seen his name.
Wow.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I'd never even thought of that. It
makes
to
me
be
mad.
Honest with you.
I think it's just with him. It's just like bitch eating crackers. Like I'll just get mad over anything because I don't like him. Anyway, Davey Boy Smith is my number one, and probably like to me the reason being is when I hear pick a British wrestler, he's the one that comes to my brain. There's the word British in his name. He wears the Union Jack,
which is cheating.
Yeah, he wears the Union Jack on his tights. Like he is the most British person. Also, like a bit of a, I guess, an emotional connection. The first match I ever saw, similar to Mikey, had the British Bulldog in it. It was because when I got into wrestling, I just used to get random VHSs from Blockbuster or from Civic Video, and I would just pick whatever one had like the fancy cover, and a lot of the time it was like 3 years old or whatever. The first one I got was, and I watched it, and there was some fucked up storyline between the British Bulldog and Shawn Michaels, where Shawn Michaels allegedly sexually assaulted the British Bulldog's wife. Yeah, right. And I'm like 7 at the time. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is awesome. So, like, which is so bizarre because, like, I always attribute the No Mercy 99 tag team ladder matches, the match that made me fall in love with wrestling. But that is the first match I ever remember watching. And it had the British Bulldog in it. He personifies Britishness. And yeah, he's my number one. A bit of a letdown.
I remember that story so clearly. That was around the time, that story was around the time when a lot of the backstage shit started happening with Shawn Michaels regarding like Sonny and Bret Hart and all that. Like there was like real...
Oh, and Bret Hart was having some sunny days. Allegedly.
Yeah, I remember that story clearly, but yeah, fuck. Yeah, well, like you said, he's probably one of the most... He is the most British guy you can think of when you say the word British, because obviously it's in the name, like you said. But just everything, the way he spoke, taking an actual British Bulldog to the ring with him in the 80s, and just fucking awesome. Love him.
All right, and my number one is an absolute legend in British wrestling. He is the current NXT UK general manager, who they needed to hire an assistant to the general manager because he was so bad on the microphone. but they wanted to keep him around anyway. Johnny Saint, who is, the pioneer of, trained by Billy Robinson, catch wrestling god. And he's the pioneer of that kind of, the world of sport, catch as catch can, escapology, trading holds for holds, that inspired the styles of Zack Sabre Jr., Doug Williams, Jack Gallagher, who I won't give an honorable mention to because I don't want Danders to jump down my throat again. And all these guys whose style I really enjoy. Even Pete Dunne, when he does the limb manipulation stuff, I feel like that's owed back to Johnny Saint and Billy Robinson and that whole lineage. So Johnny Saint had to be number one. I didn't feel like I could put anyone else in that spot and be happy with myself. And I've gone down rabbit holes on YouTube where I've just watched Johnny Saint matches, just like random old ass matches that are really grainy footage, and just watched them for like hours at a time because, I mean, the action is slower, but it's so scientific.
I watch a lot of Johnny Saint stuff. He's fantastic. Like you said, trained by Billy Robinson. I watch a lot of Billy Robinson stuff. It's like amazing.
Watching Billy Robinson's seminars on YouTube is insane.
Oh, ridiculous. Yeah, there's 3 old school British guys that I absolutely love. Billy Robinson, Johnny Saint, and Bill Dundee as well. Another guy who played an Aussie character, but he was Scottish born, sorry. He's British born. Those 3 guys I just love watching them wrestle. But yeah, good picking for number 1 there, mate.
Yeah. So, and who have you got, big boy?
You got British Bulldog, you got Johnny Saint. My number 1 is actually someone that you actually mentioned in your top 5, but as a honourable mention because you forgot about him. My number 1 is Mr. Nigel McGuinness.
Nice.
The reason why Nigel McGuinness gets me number 1, it's such a British name, Nigel, right? Isn't it? Just hello, Nigel.
It's the most British name.
Yeah. Hello, Nigel.
I think of Frasier's brother.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the reason why Nigel gets in my number 1 spot. So there was a period that after WCW closed down, actually, and all the last year of WCW because it actually made me physically sick watching that.
You didn't like New Blood Rising? Come on, man.
No, fuck Russo. We're going to get a whole bunch of Russo fucking stands. I learned what a stand is today, by the way. We're going to get a lot of
what's going to happen? Sorry, go ahead.
We're going to get a lot of Vince Russo stands like stalking us now because they go wild.
You know what's going to happen now? Jules is going to hit us with top 5 WCW 2000 pay-per-views or something.
I haven't watched any of them. I haven't watched...
And we'll have to, and it'll be amazing.
I've only ever watched that Bash at the Beach.
I've watched every WCW Monday Nitro episode and pay-per-view ever. And
how you can not like the era of WCW where Scott Steiner and Booker T were the top guys? I don't understand. I don't.
Tell you what's a slightly more British. Sorry. 1 year. Keep going. I was interrupting. You completely.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, do you know what's a much worse name than Nigel McGuinness? Is Lucas Eatwell, which is Zack Sabre Jr.'s real name. You fucking phony. You're not a junior at all.
Is it really Lucas Eatwell?
I just looked it up, and then it was like it led me to like a Reddit thread, and it's like it's really ironic considering how skinny he is. It's like should be Lucas Nibbles slightly.
No, see if he was a bigger guy, like if he was like I don't know Ace Romero, like if he was a bigger dude, that'd be a really good wrestling name.
Giant Haystacks. No. All right, so no, the real reason why number 1, as I was alluding to the closing of WCW, I hated that there wasn't a number 2 promotion out there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm that edgy guy that I always have enjoyed WWE. I'm not gonna lie, like I still get sucked in sometimes. I have to watch Raw highlights every week just because I have to because it's WWE. But I was aiming for, I needed that number 2. I needed that. And I discovered Ring of Honor. And when I discovered Ring of Honor in 2003, 2004, whenever it was, I fucking loved Nigel McGuinness. Nigel McGuinness, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Jay Briscoe, all those guys. But Nigel McGuinness, those classics that he put on with like Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson at the time. There's about 6 or 7 other matches. I think there's about 10 of them that they've wrestled about 10 times, like 60-minute matches, and like they are some of the best wrestling matches I've ever watched in my life. Some of his matches against fucking Tyler Black / Seth Rollins or Austin Aries or Kevin Steen or Marufuji, Kenta. He has a list of wrestling matches that Uncle Davey's like absolute top of the wank bank for Uncle Dave Meltzer. I don't know. McGuinness is a reason. He is one of the couple of guys like Punk and Brian that made me fall back in love with wrestling this hard. I kind of was falling off for a bit. I'm like, yeah, like WWE is cool, but it's just not doing it for me. I need something, and I discovered Ring of Honor, and McGuinness and his crew brought me back into wrestling, and he is a fucking awesome commentator.
Yeah,
he needs
and
to
not just an awesome commentator. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah,
and there was a long period of time where he struggled mentally.
Yeah,
because he couldn't wrestle.
Yeah,
and things weren't good. He tried to put together a thing called LA Fights that he put together on Kickstarter, which is his ideas, his thinking is ahead of its time, because he put together this idea for this Kickstarter thing, and this would have been in like 2012, 2013, like when Kickstarter was still young, right? And I remember I helped him out with it. I organized like Reddit Q&A and stuff for him, and sort of talked back and forth with him. And he was such a nice dude, such a great dude, and his idea was amazing. He wanted to make this like basically a worked MMA style of wrestling, where the show would be basically, it was a TV show that was like a faux UFC documentary, right?
Yeah.
With worked shoot matches. And I was like, this is revolutionary. This is the next big thing in wrestling. And then it didn't make the Kickstarter goal, and then he got signed by WWE as a commentator. I'm like, but there was a period of time where he just, if you watch the documentary on him too, like I feel bad that I didn't put him in my list, but again, and he does parts of the style that I love as well, but then he mixes it with, like, he was one of the first guys that I know of, and I'm not over there, so I don't know what's happening in England, but like he was one of those first guys that, you know, the Pete Dunne style and everything is very much modeled after the sort of the modern British style, where it's a mix of that catch wrestling and the Japanese strong style stuff.
Yeah.
Nigel was doing that before anyone.
Yeah, sure was. And yeah, like you said, like his dark period, everything that we all got to see about Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson on Total Bellas with his mental breakdowns with not being able to wrestle ever again, Nigel McGuinness had to do that for good. And like, it just sucks because Nigel McGuinness, dare I say, was better than Bryan Danielson. Nigel McGuinness could be a WWE World fucking Champion. He was on the level of Danielson and Punk and Joe and all these guys that are currently headlining by WWE that, even Reed.
I want him to get in there and have one last match. I want him to have one last match with either. It'd be great to have it with Daniel Bryan, but I think Zach Gibson would make more sense.
Yeah, I'd actually like to be Daniel Bryan because Daniel Bryan would look after him in the ring. They would look after each other. But no, and I actually want him to get out of the commentary desk and become like a manager. I want him to have more character stuff on. I don't give a shit if it's a main roster. I'd watch Raw just to watch him come out and be an annoying GM every week. He would do Regal better than Regal as a GM, or whatever, commissioner. He would do a better job.
Yeah.
He'd be awesome. But yeah.
I'm a big fan of your number one pick there, Mikey.
Thanks.
Yeah. What about my number one pick?
No.
Aren't you proud of me?
It
doesn't. Oh no, I thought that was going to be Greg. Sorry, Mikey. It matters what you think.
Happy birthday, Danders.
Can't say I've ever felt proud of the Danderfield.
That's all right. I'm all aboard the shame.
No
I'm all
offense.
aboard the shame train.
How come when you make fun of me it sounds funny, and when I make fun of you it just sounds mean? I
don't
can't
know
do
if it's
this.
a
I love you,
combination of
Danders. I'm just
yeah,
not funny.
I'm just like a trash human. So it's like, crazy Danders, what's she gonna say next? Is it gonna be something like about debilitating mental health, or is it gonna be about a rampant dick sucking? Who knows? It's a mixed bag. See, even that, like.
And on that note, where can people find you talking about your rampant dick sucking?
I'm back on Instagram. Looks like I'm there to stay at Rachel Danderfield on Instagram, on Twitter at Danderfield. Come start fights with me. It's lots of fun. And don't add me on Facebook, fuckers. I fucking told you. Stop it. We're not friends.
Can vouch it's not actually fun to pick fights with Danders. Moving on to Mikey. Where can people find you, buddy?
I'm at Mikey Stanley 86 on Twitter. I don't care about Instagram. I am on it, but I suck at it. So
I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit. The B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do, and thank you so much for listening.
Hold one. Arm drag.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon. You just made the list.
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two. Arm bar.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Dummy.